to her. Yeah.
Oh, no!
Matt, what the hell was that?
Wasn't me, Coach. Welcome to the Straight Red Card. Get off our lawn.
Welcome to the Straight Red Card.
Hello.
If you're here for the show, which I hope you are, I hope you didn't just stumble into this. But I know
that's okay.
That's okay. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of different managers, not just, of course, Rodgers, who apparently some people don't know. Brian, you don't know who Brenden Rodgers is? That's odd.
Goes by Mr. Had a PBS show for a long fucking time.
Yep. And I do know that we did say in other perfunctory thoughts, but we don't really do much perfunctory around here, right? We're not just flapping our lips around.
I had to look up the word.
Oh, did you? Second time in 2 weeks.
Second time.
All right. Yeah, we don't do that, but I thought it was
Derek just is going through his thesaurus going, what word can I use next?
I just thought it'd be funny.
Right
We take ourselves lightly here. And yeah, obviously sometimes we say things without thinking much about it. So
BMR points it out that he already said it first. Damn it.
Show on PBS, yes.
Yep, yeah.
It's a beautiful name in the neighborhood, a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Would you be mine?
One of the new managers joining our show here, Jesse Marsch. Welcome, Jesse.
Hey, Jesse. Yeah, I'm glad you're still supporting Leeds. I heard you were rumored to take over the Leicester job. So we'll see what happens there. I doubt it will happen because it's shit. All right. Oh, we're.
Do you think he's going to go? Do you think he's going to pull an entire Lampard thing where he takes a couple seasons off and then comes back to Leeds?
No, I don't think he's coming back to Leeds, and I really would be surprised if he ever got a job in the Premier League anytime soon or ever again. But we'll see, because that's kind of how these things operate. You know, you get one shot. And he did at least have the success of keeping them up one season. So there's that. He can point to that and say, I did that there. But then the next season, not so good. He still hasn't responded to my Twitter in his to him where I said, hey, man, we all love you. But, you know, maybe a little less dogmatism next time you get a job. You know how you kept the team up the first time you got there by not like going with your system, like 100% balls out. And then you did the next season and it didn't work out so good. So anyhow, that's what I told you.
Yeah, I kind of blame some of that failure on the players, quite frankly.
I know you do, Brett, and that's true. But look, Bamford's still a failure, but Gracias is keeping him up, right? Bamford still sucks. He can't do shit. He sucked in that last game and they won it anyhow. Now, I mean, the only thing I would say is Jesse didn't have the luxury of having McKennie on the team, who played spectacularly.
Hey, he had him for 20 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Not much. All right, the turd in the background says, welcome to the Straight Red Card. Who will be the next sporting director? Who the F knows? See, I didn't say F, so you wouldn't get demonetized. Oh, shite. I said it. Oops. I effing did it again. Oops. I did it again. All right, Brittany.
I guess while we're talking about the turds, we got the turds' attention here.
Okay.
Berlin sends us a nice little tweet on the thread.
Okay. What's that about?
The new spokesperson of U.S. soccer
is
Dylan.
Jesus Christ. You know what?
Our official U.S. soccer and show spokesman. Eat shit, turd.
Yeah. Well, probably we're not going to touch this with a 10-foot pole, but I was asking myself, why is everybody so upset about this? I couldn't figure it out. The only thing I will say about it is Budweiser doesn't give two fucks about that community. They don't care. They don't give two fucks. They don't care.
I don't know if I necessarily understand their thought process here. I mean, I don't think they were taking into consideration who actually buys Bud Light. Dylan even talks about how she doesn't buy Bud Light.
Apparently, a lot of really angry.
Or know what the March Madness is.
But I mean, listen. What I would be upset with them is for doing this when you know the execs somewhere are chuckling like, oh yeah, well, this will make us look like we give a shit. Nobody believes you actually give a shit, you fake fucks. Nobody thinks you actually care about trans people. So that's what's repulsive about it. Anyhow, it's Bud Light is still owned by Anheuser-Busch. So Anheuser-Busch is really who we should be talking about here, not Bud Light and Budweiser. Anyhow, I've got no real, what do you call that?
Qualms?
I've got no dog in this fight, which I don't like that saying.
It's just a giant virtue signal on on Anheuser-Busch's taken. And
you know what? If my
they'll take a hit. We'll see what happens.
If my local coffee shop did something like this with a special drink they made, I'd be like, yeah, I know those guys, and they really do care about these issues. But Budweiser,
it's possible, Chris. It's possible.
Budweiser
well,
doesn't care. They don't care at all.
Dylan's like, I don't even recall ever buying a Bud Light before, and they mentioned something about March Madness. I thought we were just going crazy in March, but it turns out it's actually a sporting event.
I don't know. Anyhow, it didn't ruin my day, but it apparently has affected others. And I just think it's just more blatant corporate tomfoolery, pretending to be something that they are not. They aren't. They don't care. They really don't care. But the only reason they would care or pretend to care about this issue at all is because, all right, in the old days, people who were socialists or they were leftists they cared about the working class and working people and small businesses surviving. And that's what the main focus of the left used to be. Well, this is a distraction in some ways from those core issues that we all could get around and say, yeah, healthcare, yeah, working class people, yeah, unions or whatever. Well, now we don't talk about those things anymore. When's the last
I'll come back, Jose. Don't worry.
When's the last candidate even talked about those kind of things anymore? Nobody does, really. So anyhow, and you know what? The corporations benefit from us not talking about those issues anymore, because as long as everybody's talking about these issues, they're not talking about working people issues. And they're happy with that because they don't want to have to deal with that discussion because they know they'd be losers in many cases. Some would, not all. Some corporations treat their people well. Many do not. And many of them are corrupt. I know I'm stretching it. I want to leave a little wiggle room. There's
got to be one out there. One out there.
There's got to be. All right. So now that we all sound like a bunch of communists on this show, let's move on to the rest of the show.
Anonymity has a point. Virtue signaling on the other half is I'm not drinking Bud Light because wah, goo goo gaga. All I see is dumb people. And to that point is it's a culture war at this point, and we're not diving too far into that because we're not part of that. We're here to talk about stupid shit in soccer.
That's why I said it didn't ruin my day.
I don't even recall the last time I bought Bud Light, so it's not affecting me in the slightest.
Yeah, I don't drink that piss.
But I agreeing with what I said earlier and what Chris brought up earlier is the marketing team being.
They're the worst people.
They weren't taking into consideration who they're actually marketing the product to. It's the Gillette male toxicity or whatever the fuck it is.
Didn't that ruin Gillette for a while?
They lost a decent chunk of change for that.
Yeah, I guess.
Unlike insulting guys who are like the key portion of who buys your razors.
I don't even remember what they said, but I do remember that generally. And I just think if you are part of a marketing team, part of your job is to realize who your audience is. Mm-hmm. And I would guess the conversation in the marketing department and the corporate department was something like this. Okay, like this is our big brand. What can we do to expand and grow our brand into other communities? But you can't just do that in a way where you're like, don't consider that there might be a portion of other people that are going to get upset by the fact that you try to do some outreach to that community. So, I mean, listen, it's just something.
Come back to you again.
Something you have to consider, I guess. All alcohol is disgusting. Mix your drinks, you fucking serfs. Brett doesn't. I do.
I am all that is man.
I'm a ginger ale and whatever I put in it, guy.
S27 says beer is overrated, is so bad for you, but it's so good.
Certain certain beer is, but he's right.
delicious.
It's just a beer gut waiting to happen if you drink a lot of beer.
I speak from experience, Derek.
I'm just telling you the truth.
I don't drink too many beer anymore,
Right.
but yes.
No.
Oh man, getting some nice Alpha King or some Zombie Dust. Oh, it's good shit.
All right, I'll stick to my Belgian beers. Jose Reyes says for $10, thank you, brother. Welcome back. I'm back. But what's that? I'm back, but I never really left. That is LL Cool J. Electricity was out for a while because of stupid wind. Just saying hi. Gonna sit back, grab a beer. Glad you said beer, and enjoy the show. I hope everyone has a great Easter weekend. Yeah, I mean, if you're into that thing with the bunnies and the eggs and all that, and you still have kids, it's kind of fun when the kids are young. You hide the eggs in really hard places to find. They start crying. Then you have to reveal where they are, give them hints because they're all weepy and shit. I can't find any eggs. All right. So let's move on.
But yeah, Jose, thanks for the glad to have you back.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, let's move that off.
All right.
I feel like we've touched that a bit. I'm gonna bring up anonymity again. Anonymity.
All right.
Men drinking. Go ahead.
Men drink liquor straight. Fuck off. Who thinks something that tastes like peat or wood is good thing? Humans are bipedal sheep. You know, listen, I mentioned this on the show before. I went to a Scotch tasting party, right? It was really fancy, and all the bottles were like $100 or more. And I thought it was disgusting, especially the ones that taste like peat, which is basically coming out. If you're in Scotland, it's the origins of it are from a peat moss, like a pond.
It's basically a swamp with decomposing organic material in it.
Exactly. Yes. I mean, how is that going to taste good? The only one I liked out of like the 15 that I sipped from was the one that had the caramel accents.
I'd say Scotch is the only thing I haven't really got into yet. I don't know if I will, because it's one of those things where I feel like it's like if you drink a cheap Scotch, it's like, oh, I feel my mouth burning. But if you drink a good Scotch, you're like, okay, well, this is good, but I don't have the money for a good Scotch.
No, I'm not paying $200 for a good Scotch. But I will say, I mean, I could afford it right now, and I'm just not going to do it because I don't have any interest in it. But if you talk to some people who are like aficionados of wine, aficionados of Scotch, and whatever, I'm sure there's some way you could decide that you liked the Scotch that you're drinking and you understood or could taste the qualities that you were looking for, whether it be wood, peat, caramel, whatever. I'm not discounting that that's possible at all. Because, by the way, we're all individuals and we all have our own individual likes. You would hope that they were actually real likes, like things you really like, and not things that you do to impress people. Yeah, well, then if that's why you're doing it, then that's a problem.
Yeah.
All right. All right. All right. What else we got? Are we moving on to topics already?
I want you to avert your eyes, Derek. Look away. Look away.
Oh, okay.
Look away. Guys, if you haven't gotten your bingo card yet, it is the same cards from last week. So a handful of you guys should probably keep the same cards you had. But here we go. This is the one that I showed my wife. She thought it was funny that we talked about herpes and other STDs.
Well, now you just gave it away.
Derek, you're gonna bring up herpes. Guarantee it.
Why don't we just make it a free space then?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of these would be free spaces, quite frankly.
All right.
And we are done.
All right.
Derek,
Okay.
you can look again.
Okay. Yes, I hope that all goes well for those of you doing
Scotch. But watch it go down
into
my belly.
Go down into my belly. See, some people like it. Nate, apparently, a lot of people.
Sensation of Ron Jeremy.
Right.
Ron Burgundy, not Ron Jeremy.
Ron Jeremy.
Whoops.
Oh boy, yeah.
Roy was right.
I mean, big difference between the two. One can blow his own horn, and the other is just a comedian. All right. So, by the way,
he toots his own horn too. Yeah.
He toots it. I don't know.
One blows it, one toots it. Yep.
Toots it. Okay.
Phrase.
All right.
English.
Toot? What is toot? What's
Toot
toot?
your horn.
It's like blowing as well. That's like whistling into something.
All right, we're going to move on from here.
All right. Oh, by the way, there's this ridiculous shit that showed up on my feed that I brought up to you before he came on the show.
I just had that pulled up right now.
About this dude. He's trying out, and the name of it is Trying Out This Mug My Mom Got Me. It's got a whole 122 views.
Nope. Let's pull a step back. He is his name is 123 Mr. Killer. So if you like his content, go check him out.
But this guy's whole thing is he is incredibly impressed by the size of his mug that his mom bought him. I don't think I'm putting on there, my mom bought me a mug, I live at home, and now I'm going to drink out of this giant ass mug. That
he might not live at his parents' house. Is that what you're saying?
Maybe he doesn't. I mean, his mom bought it. You think she just drove over and dropped off this giant mug?
Maybe it was his birthday, Derek.
In his house, he lives with his parents for sure. Look how young he is.
He's got like 8 beers next to him. I guarantee you, he's not in his parents' house.
Yeah, but I believe this guy has a TikTok show which he makes a lot of money off of drinking beer and other assorted alcohol stuff.
Not 100% positive that he makes a lot of money on TikTok, but okay.
Well, he's here. This one's on YouTube, and it popped up on my feed. So I'm like, what the fuck is this?
I don't know what you're looking at. That hit the algorithm. He's 126 views or subscribers. Was it subscribers or views?
Views. 122 views. And somehow it shows up on my feed. My feed.
Over 100% views to subscribers, and I think the rest of them were you and me, apparently.
Why is this on my feed? I don't know. Anyhow, I thought he was going to do something impressive. And he doesn't. He spends most of the video, about 10 minutes of it, slowly trying to pour the beer into the giant ass mug.
So, not bad form initially.
Yep.
But the problem is, and we'll let it play. We'll play a little bit here.
All right.
But he pours the entire thing in there. Come on.
Fast.
Look at that.
That's all foam. Yeah. That's a bad pour.
Oh,
yeah. You got to go a little slower, buddy. Have some patience. And then he bitches and complains about how much foam he has.
Look how much fucking is there, man.
Dude, have you ever poured a fucking beer before in a giant mug? Anyhow, he's really happy about this mug, and eventually it takes him 2 tries, but he downs the whole thing. He managed to fit 48 ounces into it. So that's a lot of beer. That's a lot, but I mean, it's Corona. What's Corona? 3.3%?
It's practically water. It's distilled water. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not really that impressive after all, except for the fact he's able to slam that much liquid into his gut at once without, he has to burp here. And then he goes on and finishes it later. Anyhow, just weird shit showing up on my feed. Not sure why. Maybe it had something to do with the Budweiser thing. I don't know, because I wasn't even looking for that. That came up. By the way, I wanted to mention that the quagga, which is another species related to zebras, has been reestablished. It was extinct, and now it's back. I believe that actually happened some time ago, but now it's to the point where it's an actual species again. They've gotten so far down the line that the quagga has returned. Quagga.
Siberia. Sorry, not Serbia. Siberia is working on the woolly mammoth.
They are, but they've been working on that for fucking ever. And I don't know.
I would like to see the footage of what they've completed so far. I mean, imagine they haven't come out and said anything, because what they're creating is some ghastly, like, hairy being of some form.
Well, what all they've completed so far is they created a mammoth meatball out of it. That's
basically what I was trying to say there. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a better way of wording it.
That's really disgusting.
Yeah.
All right. Before we get to Rodgers and all the other people that are, by the way, I did want to mention Pete's obsession with Conrad on the last show, because they were going over who's going to be in the
He's
U.S.
got an obsession with Conrad. That's rough, man.
I know, and that's what Dak told him too. He's like, you used to have Conrad on your who's going to be in the 2026 roster for the United States men's national team, and Pete said, "Yeah, I'm going to have to remove him." But he said, "I'm not giving up."
So Hudson has come out and said, like, hey, for this upcoming April match against Mexico, there are at least 5 people that I'm planning on bringing in that aren't in MLS, because it's a non-FIFA window. So
Yep.
it's going to be MLS players, and then whomever they can get that the team is like, I don't care if you take them, just take them.
My guess is it'll be guys who maybe are coming back from injury, maybe Sam Vines, guys like that who haven't had a shot for a while. Maybe Tessman from Venezia, although they need him, so they don't want him to get hurt.
He might be dabbling into the anybody at Liga MX. I don't know if there's a couple of players there.
Not really anybody there else that we want. Maybe Johnny. Maybe the guy from Brøndby, Christian Kappas, hasn't seen a look for a while, and he's still in Denmark, and he plays off and on for Brøndby. So I'm kind of thinking
also be looking at a player like Gaga could be there too. I mean, he has no chance in hell with Chelsea right now.
No, so might as well bring him. Guys that are kind of stuck in the backup role, maybe. Busio. Sebastian Soto. No, he's not getting a chance.
Why even waste a spot? Come on.
Listen, all I got to say is if Conrad gets a chance, then so should Sebastian Soto. I'm sorry. But, when they were talking, Pete's like, you can't give up on a 20-year-old kid. I'm like, well, wherever this guy goes, they fucking hate him. I mean,
it's not isolated, we'll put it that way. Yeah.
No, it's not. He's starting. There's a pattern here, and we've seen this now with a bunch of players. Soto, Otasawi, in some ways, Holmes, and
Holmes still puts in the 90 minutes when he's healthy.
He does now. He learned to figure it out. Conrad, he has not figured it out, but Holmes did figure it out. He was out injured, but now he's back from the injury, and he went right back in the starting lineup. But for a while there, he wasn't getting along with any coach he had. Rooney, Greg.
John saying Dest.
Dest is
why not? I mean, AC Milan's already said we're not bringing him back, and
no, they've got no eyes for Dest, but so he might be available. Who knows? Bello is a good one. That's a good one. I mean, Bello is. Yeah, we did say Busio, but Bello might be one you give a shot. He's getting some playing time with Armenia Bielefeld. Is Beasley still playing? No, Beasley lives about 45 minutes north of us, 30 minutes.
He could absolutely take the field at this point. I guarantee that.
Yeah, he could. I mean, he's still in really good shape. Yeah. But, so we'll see what happens there. All right. Next, I guess.
Let's bounce over to Derek's favorite topic of the day.
Oh God!
Transfer news.
U.S. men's national team only. Who I do follow, by the way. Yeah. It's just when I get things like this, I'm like, God damn it! So Crystal Palace, Everton, and Bournemouth are all among those reportedly keeping a close eye.
Do you think he put the quotes there for us?
I hope so.
He did.
I hope he did.
Obviously, he's just passing on the information. I'm assuming it's a he. I'm not. It could be a she. I shouldn't assume.
Could be an it. We don't know.
Could be an it. You never know.
Could be AI for all we know. As well as promotion contenders Sheffield United, Norwich, who already have Sargent. So they're
losing Pookie. Just think of that dual tandem of Vasquez and Sargent.
But they don't really play two up top unless they play Sargent as a false or sort of a second striker, which they still don't do enough. You still see Sargent hanging out wide too much. But yes, more recently, they have played up top together with Pookie playing the point man and then Sargent. And then they'll switch sometimes. You'll see Sargent go up top and Pookie play underneath him. So if that continues, I guess you could have two guys. So, but I see that as being very unlikely. Middlesbrough were so loaded they had to get rid of Hoppy, right? So that doesn't really make much sense. And some guy was like loaded.
He's not even consistent at his current loan, though. So, I mean,
well, we'll see about that.
Not boding too well from there.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't remember if he played last week. He did play last weekend. Didn't score, though. Middlesbrough, by the way, they're one of the top scorers in the championship, and they're doing pretty good up top. But if they get to the Premier League, they get promoted. Is Vasquez the guy you want to bring in? Is that the guy that's going to never know? Is he the big difference maker as you head to the Premier League? I don't think so. And then Scotland's Rangers would be fine.
I guess it'd be interesting to find out what his price tag is going to be from Cincy. That might be the factor. I mean, if a recently promoted team can get him on the relatively cheap, I mean, they're going to be getting banked just from getting promoted.
Is 10 million cheap?
No, you probably get somebody else. It's probably just as prolific to come in for less than that. That's European, EU based already.
My guess is that's what they'd be asking, between 10 and 12.
I would suspect so as well.
Yeah.
Oh, how old is Brenden? Is he 20?
He's still fairly young, though. He's like 22, 23 years old.
Okay.
Yeah. Are they monitoring? They didn't even use the word BMR monitoring yet. That comes later.
They're just keeping an eye.
Maybe they're monitoring because they're going to be in the championship next year. If you're talking about Crystal Palace, maybe. Or Everton, maybe. Or Bournemouth. Yeah. How's Norwich looking? How's Norwich looking?
How are they looking?
Oh.
How's the team looking, basically, is what he's asking.
They're not good right now. They were near the top. They've been
They'll be a top half.
They'll be top half. But, I mean, they were on the verge of that top 6, and now they look like they're just going to peter out here at the end of the season. So, sadly, not good. And watching that last game sucked. It was boring as hell. Even though Sargent had some good moments, but it's just not enough. They're too predictable.
So, they're 7th right now, but they're 4 points off 6, which is a playoff spot.
Right.
So they have to start putting forth some wins here.
They should have put forth some wins last weekend. I mean, let's face it. This is getting old now. I mean, you got in 5 games, you got 2 losses, 2 ties, and a win. When you were pretty securely up near the top for a while, and now you're falling down outside of the 6.
They seem to go through spurts. It's like they get a couple wins, then they get a couple losses, and they get a couple draws, and then they get a couple wins, and they're going to be teetering right there in that playoff role up until the end of it. Whether or not they finish there is another question. But
you would hope so. But I'm still saying things don't look fantastic right now. It's the way they're playing right now that I don't like. But we said that before. I mean, guys.
This is also Pookie's last year. They've already come out and said that he's done after this. So,
Pookie hasn't. Pookie said he's still thinking about it.
No, Norwich has said that it's done. So at that point, if Pookie wants to continue playing, he's getting shipped off.
Probably back to Finland. Where
or another championship team. Fuck it, why not?
He'll just go back to the club he started all out with, and maybe get a coaching job or something. Who knows?
I mean, that's always a nice way to end it too, right? Give back to the club that set you up.
Yeah, a lot of players do that. Yeah. They end their career where they started. All right, what else we got?
Oh, we got more transfer news.
This is it, guys. If you read anything that says monitoring, just shut it down immediately. Just say
keeping an eye. They're monitoring.
Just call bullshit on it. They monitor everybody. Everybody gets monitored. If you have a lick of fucking skill.
Yeah.
European teams are currently monitoring SC Cincinnati figure. He's a figure. Brenden Rodgers. What the hell is that about? After a recent rise in Major League Soccer.
That's a weird way of wording it, isn't it?
And it's not recent. It's not recent at all, dumbass. His season so far in FC Cincinnati, the new one, has been very poor and not good and not impressive. He has not kept up the streak he had with FC Cincinnati last season.
He certainly hasn't putting in the goals.
No, he's had a rough start, and that's okay. He'll bounce back.
Yeah.
But at least get your fucking commentary correct. Recent rise? No, he was risen. He'd already been fully erect, and now it's kind of sagging, and now it needs to go back to being fully erect. Are you getting monitored, Derek? No, I'm too old, and I'm sure there could be some people monitoring me, but it'd be a different kind of monitoring, I would guess. That would be the U.S. soccer guys in their hobnail boots. Brian DeMarco, Norwich fans say he's trying to make a jump to a Prem team, but I don't see it. Did I do the?
That was a great sound effect. There, it was awesome. No, if Pookie's looking to go back to the Prem,
I hope he's
That's
talking about
rough.
Sargent.
I think he's talking. We were talking about Pookie, so I thought he was talking about Pookie.
He's not going back to the Prem League.
Where the fuck's Pookie going? Is he done or going somewhere else?
He's pretty close to done. He's probably going to go home. And he's not going back to the Premier League. I don't think there's a chance in fucking hell that happens at all. Just listen, he's not looked good this season in the championship. And that's where he thrived in the past, right?
BMR says that if Bamford can play in the Prem, Sargent can too.
That's a fact, Jack. Yes. Because, in fact, I'd say Sargent would do better with the service that he would have gotten this season than Bamford has, it's just been atrocious.
As you said for like the last year and a half, Sargent just needs to get his balls back.
Yep.
And I feel like this season, the championship got him his balls back. He's hungry. He's looking for those goals.
Yeah, I mean, he's got him back.
He's the workhorse of the team. I mean, at the point, does the dirty stuff, doesn't get chances.
He's working so hard for not much lately, though, and that's the problem. He was on fire, got the injury, came back, and he really hasn't been the same since. And it's not the injury at this point; it's just getting back into the flow, I guess. But also, Norwich in general have not been very good since he's come back from injury. So, if the whole team's not playing well, it's kind of hard to get the service you need to score.
I was going to say that there might not be necessarily a correlation of him returning and the team not playing well, but
no, I don't think there's any correlation there. I just think they're going through a rough patch.
And I guess
they switch coaches to keep that in mind. You know, I
didn't realize that.
A big mess. Yeah.
Since I'm not able to watch Norwich on a regular, I haven't really been following that much. So,
well, every time they're on ESPN Plus, I watch them. But the last game, you didn't miss much. Trust me.
Fair enough. I guess while we're talking about Bamford, let's stick with Leeds here because apparently Derek.
You remember Wagner's there, David Wagner.
Oh yeah.
Now at Norwich. Yeah.
Sorry. I knew that.
Yeah, that's a transition. It's another transition. You know.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sticking with what I was saying, let's stick with Leeds here. Did you know that that it's been rumored? It's been explained by the Italian press that Leeds and Juventus has agreed to terms when it comes to Weston McKennie.
Well, we'll see how Weston feels about that. You know, listen, Weston's a guy who likes to get out, right? So, I mean, Leeds is not exactly London, is it? It's not exactly, it's not exactly like playing for Juventus, but it is more like playing for Schalke, at least. So he has that sort of grounding. So you would hope that if that is in fact the case, that he would want to be there because Adams is there. And I don't know how long Aaronson's going to be there unless he does something, because it's pretty obvious that if this season finishes and your starting CAM for most of the season has I think he has 0 assists, or does he have 1? He has one.
He's got 1 goal. I know that much.
1 goal. A starting center attacking midfielder has 1 goal. That is not somebody you're going to bring back. I mean they'll sell him and cut their losses.
Keep him as a bid player at that point. You might as well just,
he could be depth.
He's good backup at the point.
You pay
energy.
You pay $30 million for a bench player? That's crazy. That's crazy. And listen, we all want Brenden to do well. I really want him to do well, but I'm really struggling to find out. Now, yes, did Bamford miss a bunch of easy setups?
I was going to bring that up. I was going to say there are plenty of chances that he could have logged a couple of assists, but I'm not going to point that as this is why he's got 1 goal, no assists.
Yeah,
because there are other factors there too.
Yeah, I mean, he could have made his own chances too and scored.
Yeah, at least now he's starting to shoot the ball. That's all that really matters at that point. I'm happy to see that.
I just think that here's a guy who needs to grow up a little. He needs to mature. He needs to calm down. His mind seems to race when he gets the ball. He's really good at charging forward with the ball, but not so good when someone shoulders him. There are all kinds of things that need to be fixed in Brenden Aaronson's game if he wants to be a true Premier League quality player going forward. Otherwise, he'll just end up playing for a lot of lower league Premier League teams. His whole career, he'll be passed around like a blunt.
So,
and people will just use him as the guy that's the rabbit to chase around the ball.
pretty much.
And, that he's good at, but that's not good enough for the Premier League.
So do you think Leeds is willing to spend a transfer fee and then offer Weston a $71,000 a week deal when they are teetering on relegation?
So
less teetering right now, but they could be.
Well, let's say they make it and they decide, yes, we're keeping Weston. They're going to have to dump some players. There's no way they can afford that without getting rid of some people. They're going to get. I believe the rumor I hear is that they're already telling Gracias that he needs to get rid of 3 players and start thinking about it now for next year. He's got to sell 3 so they can keep Weston. That's a heavy. I don't know who.
Not only him choosing who to sell, but also who the other teams are willing to purchase.
Exactly.
Because you could say, "Oh, I want this player, this player, this player gone," but they're like other teams are like, "Nah, I don't really care.
I'll pay you like a tiny little amount for him if you want to give."
We're trying to get rid of Aronson. Well, here's $2 million or £2 million pounds.
We need a new real right back and not a converted center back. So we need to get rid of Luke Ayling. Well, who's going to pay for Luke Ayling? A championship team at best.
Yeah.
Who's going to? The only way you're going to start covering costs is if you sell somebody like Sinistera. Then you just signed this great player, or Nanto.
Or Nanto, yeah. I mean, they only paid $3 million for Nanto. I mean, that'd be regardless of who they sell him to, that would be an increase in profit on return, at least the return on investment.
Didn't play last game either, so maybe that's the plan.
Maybe.
Know.
But Diego does not think, or does not. He's saying that this is fake news.
I would tend to agree that I don't think that it's even close to being this close to done yet. And yes, we've got some games in hand to play still, so I think it's jumping the gun.
Well, I mean, they're certainly not placing the bid if they get relegated. I mean, there's no way that Weston's team or his party is going to agree to transfer them.
Well, if this is 29 and it's Diego Mendoza, I would agree with him.
Sure.
And if he's calling this out as fake news, my friends, it's fucking fake news.
So, and not only that, you have to kind of read into this a little bit. Because he says reports from Italy claims Leeds have already agreed to personal terms.
Well,
doesn't mean that nothing's done, nothing's set in stone.
Yeah, these are probably personal terms that McKennie drew up when he got to the team. Those kind of negotiations start right away. All right, let's say we do really well. Can you give us an idea of what you would want for wages per week? All right, so now Leeds is basically maybe said, okay,
I've got my champagne fix. I need $71,000 a week, man.
Yeah, so exactly. So maybe Leeds are leaking that, okay, if we do survive, we're willing to do this. Doesn't mean that McKennie's willing to. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. We'll see.
He does talk about it in another tweet. He says 70,000 is too little. So that would also make me think that Weston wouldn't have agreed to 70,000.
I don't know. I don't know if it's too little. It's certainly too little compared to what you might get if you were a Juventus player. Yeah, it is. So, or, you would think you would like coming from Juventus to continue to have your weekly fee increase. And this does not sound like an increase to me. So I don't know. I would go with Diego on this one and say this is fake news. And he doesn't he doesn't need to be sorry about it either.
I was curious. Obviously, you hear 71,000 a week, man. That sounds like that's a lot of money, and it only comes up to about just about 3.7 mil.
Yeah,
for his wages, for his take.
Right.
So, I guess I don't know where that places him in the realm of Leeds players. I'd have to go and look at their salaries to find out. I guess I could do that, really.
You could. I would say this as well. If McKennie and Roca continue to play the way they're playing right now, and Leeds easily stay up, there are going to be other teams that are going to be offering fat cash for those two guys. And there'll be more mid-table teams, not guys that are going to suffer the ingratitude of having to survive in the Premier League. But you know what? Leeds is in 13th. They are essentially a mid-table team right now, but everything's so fucking tight from the 14th or from 12th and down. Any of those teams from Crystal Palace down could go down this season. So it's very odd. We're talking about Leeds being 13th, and yet they're nowhere near safe. Nowhere near.
It looks like the 3.7 mil would put him up as one of the top annual earners for Leeds.
That does not surprise me.
So,
who else is going to get paid more than he?
I think Rodrigo was up there when I looked.
Junior Firpo? No, I'm serious.
Harrison.
I believe Firpo and Harrison are up near the top.
Yeah.
Anyhow. Okay. Anything else you want to cover?
Yeah, I want to cover one more thing with Weston McKennie. So we talked about when Weston McKennie came to England. We talked about his diet in Italy, eating all those carbs, all the pastas, the pizzas, all that stuff.
Champagne.
Not really good for your intake. So it comes up to England, we talk about it. And I'm like, wait, it's going to be like fried pizzas, a fried Snickers bars, spotted dicks.
Fish and chips.
Yep. But then you look at him from when he came to when he is now.
Oh, he looks a lot better already.
Oh my goodness, yeah. He's definitely hit it running, man. He is thinned out in that short period of time with Leeds. Apparently,
he's lost 10 pounds
in
the last 3 weeks. So that's starting with
you can see it in the face, and you can see it even in the chest region.
Yeah, that started at the U.S. men's national team camp, by the way.
Yeah.
And it kept on until he got back to Leeds. And of course, he's starting and playing he played 90. If you're going to play 90, you better be in good shape.
Yeah, how often have we seen the McKennie go 90 recently?
Because he would always peter out after 70 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't really. He had like a 10-minute stint in the second half of the last game where he looked like he was kind of taking a break. But there was no time to take a break, and he ran his ass off that whole game.
So when Pirlo was at Juventus, and Weston was playing every game, like the whole game, he was in the best shape of his life. You could see it. He came back to the U.S. national team, and he was the sharpest he's ever been.
Yep.
It's like I just needs playing time.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's an obvious thing to say, but.
Well, and I also
this is a Weston that wasn't seeing consistent 90 minutes at Juventus, and this is a Weston who got a lot of minutes from the U.S. national team and with Leeds.
It also doesn't hurt him that there isn't some wild London-like or Paris-like
not a lot of bars,
nightlife
over in the Leeds community,
right?
Yeah.
This
Pubs
is
closed at 11 p.m. He's like, what the fuck am I supposed to do until 3 now?
This isn't a place where all the movie stars and other elites hang out and party together all night. So that helps him. I think it gives him less things to worry. He just focuses on soccer. That's it. Football.
Yeah. So maybe for his club team, he needs that atmosphere where there is an atmosphere.
Question is, does he like that?
And then I'm sure he doesn't.
No,
and then during the postseason or during international breaks, he can club it up like nobody's business,
Yeah, well, next break we'll see him put on 10 pounds. Yeah, for sure.
It's a couple months before preseason in Miami with Diego. Man, he's gonna pack it back on.
Well, Diego and I'm sure they're going to invite Balogun.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he's already mentioned it. He's like,
yeah.
All those guys come down to Miami apparently.
And what's this other friend from Juventus?
French dude.
Starts with a P. Pogba. And he's got a bunch of friends in Miami. So I mean, it's going to be rough for him. Hopefully, all I care is to stay out of trouble. Stay out of trouble. That's all.
It's gonna be rough in the sense that he's going to be enjoying the nightlife every fucking night.
And partying. I mean, rough for his club team, I guess. After he's done.
Super rough.
Yeah. All right. What else we got?
Well, I guess while we're talking about national team players,
should we talk about Frank Lampard for a second?
It's like you read my mind, Derek.
Oh, okay. All right.
You read it. You're like, hey, what's Brett going to say? He's going to bring up Frank. Of course.
Frank Lampard with Christian Pulisic in his first training session. Is he patting him on the back? Oh, he's talking to him, smiling. I'm sure
And
Pulisic and fucking Mason Mount must have fucking jizzed in their drawers when they heard this announcement.
Yes!
They're like, yeah, Frank is back, baby. So on a team with like a clusterfuck roster that they have of basically 3 starting lineups in their roster, you want to know that the guy coming in already knows who you are. And Mason Mount knows that. Pulisic knows that. A lot of the guys that let's see, when did what's his face that plays center forward, the German kid, get up
Havertz?
there? Havertz. When did he get there? Was that during Frank too, or is that after Frank?
That I think. That's a great question, actually.
Yeah,
I was either tail end of his or beginning of Tuchel. So
yeah, I would think that a lot of the guys that were there.
I think him and Werner came at the same time, didn't they?
I think that's right. Yeah. So no more Werner, but Werner's doing really good for Leipzig. So
who would have thunk?
Yeah, but maybe just Chelsea was too big for him, or maybe Chelsea just aren't as good as we think they are about getting center forwards to play well. Because
we saw Lukaku, we saw Werner, we're seeing Havertz.
Havertz not looking good. Werner never looked good as a center forward. Aubameyang, when he's played out wide or played in the middle, has not looked good. So it was during Frank. That's my question.
Yeah.
So we'll see how much that plays into who Frank settles in with, as in, these are my core guys that I remember, and I know what we can do. Because, by the way, I won 48% of my matches when I was at Chelsea. I still got fired, by the way, but that's okay. I know how to win games at Chelsea. And, he had lots of ties, too. Okay, yes, lots of ties. But, a lot more wins than losses. About 60 more wins than losses while he was there. And that's almost hard to believe when you look at what Chelsea is now and what complete garbage they are and how far they have fallen. And you're thinking, well, shit, they should just start out with Frank at the beginning of the season, because I don't think they'd be so far down the goddamn table.
Yeah.
If he were there from the beginning, I don't think they'd be 11th or 10th or whatever the fuck they are now. I mean, it's embarrassing, especially with the riches of players they have. And the other thing is, I don't know if they would have bought this redundancy. They bought all these fucking players. What are they going to do with all these guys? Because guess what? They're not going to get Champions League money next season unless they find a way to win Champions League this season, which I highly doubt. They're not going to be in Champions League. They're not going to get all those extra millions and millions of dollars. And with financial fair play in play, they're going to have to sell some of these turds that they bought. And they're going to have to sell them for a lot less than they bought them. Because they haven't lived it up.
They're 14 points behind Man U right now, who sit on the last Champions League spot.
Oh, yeah, it's hopeless, right? It's fucking hopeless.
So, put all your eggs in that Champions League basket is what you're saying.
I'm guessing I'd like to see the list. And here's the thing. Because Frank is – maybe if Frank, goes on and wins every game for the rest of the season for them in the Premier League, and gets them back into 7th or 6th or whatever. And they decide to hold on to Frank. Maybe they engage Frank in the conversation about, we're going to keep you. All right. So who do you want to sell? Because they're going to have to sell somebody. They cannot keep this overloaded roster. And it's just, if you're a manager, all you're hearing is guys chirping in your ear constantly about not getting enough playing time. You think Aubameyang wants to sit on the fucking bench when he could be playing for a top team in France or a top team in Germany, a top 5 team in Germany? No, he doesn't want to be there. None of these guys. But the problem is you're going to get pennies on the dollars for these guys because you fucked up and you
overpaid.
Giant stable.
So many.
And maybe the reason that they were doing so poorly wasn't just the players. Maybe it was partially some injuries too, but you don't need to bring in the goddamn fucking army of dudes. You don't need a battalion. You just need a platoon of dudes to come in, not a fucking battalion.
I guess question, Derek, is if you have the players who you completely overpaid for are sucking royal dick, let's just say. Let's say this is theoretical, okay? Hypothetical. They're sucking royal dick, and you want to offload them, but you're not going to get anywhere near the return that you paid for. Do you take the loss?
Yes.
You have them sit on the bench.
No, you have to take the loss because of financial fair play reasons. They're going to have to take the loss. They simply cannot. They cannot have this load of money on the bill right now. They're going to break the rules again and get in trouble again, and then get not be able to sign players for a year again. They can't.
But it definitely benefited Pulisic, though.
It could. It could.
It did.
Can we bring up the Chelsea roster? Let's hack a few guys off of this roster. Seriously. It's fucking unbelievable how packed this team is. It's also stupid and it's embarrassing because the goddamn owner is American. And he's just spending money, I guess, to appease Chelsea fans, but it hasn't made them any better at all. It's made them worse.
Let's start here.
I mean,
offload Mendy.
You're
not playing him.
Yeah, you can't keep Mendy and Kepa. You can't keep them both.
Well, here's the big question. When Frank comes back, who gets it? Who gets it, Kepa or Mendy?
Didn't Frank tend to play Kepa? Yes.
Initially, yes. But I believe he ended up falling with Mendy in the end.
I don't think so. I think that was Tuchel who took Mendy.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I might be mixing up years here.
But one of those two got to go.
No, absolutely, 100%.
That's one way to clear. I mean, I'd love to keep Silva, even though he's very old, because I don't know if I believe in a lot of these young guys they've signed. And maybe they're going to be great, but I don't know that for a fact. I'd like to keep Chilwell.
Or Cucaracha?
I'm keeping Chilwell.
I would too, 100%.
I'm keeping James.
Of course you're going to keep James.
Now,
he remains healthy. Why not?
I certainly shouldn't even say who they can keep because I don't know all their contract situations. But
fair enough.
I don't need Cucurella on this team. I'm sorry.
What does he bring that's any different than Chilwell at that point?
He doesn't. Go back to Brighton where you fit in and were like one of the best players on the team because you're not one of the best players on this team and you're just insufficient as a Chelsea player. So what do we got here? Yeah. Frank brought in Mendy and started him mostly. I thought I was pretty goddamn sure that was Tuchel.
I think once Kepa started shitting the bed, I think Mendy got brought in and then just ran from there.
Yeah, so I guess it'll be interesting to see if that's the case if we go back to Mendy. Because Mendy shit the bed and he hasn't been back since. And that was Aaronson's only goal of the year. All right, scroll down a little more. There's more, right?
No, it's just the defense,
right.
Of course.
Let's see. Who else we get rid of here?
Let's get rid of Conte. Sure, well, let's do that.
I'd like to hold on to Conte.
No, 100%. I'm bullshitting here. Come on,
mean, he's getting up there in age, and the injury thing is always kind of a situation. But, is Enzo Fernandez really going to be something? Is he really going to turn into something? Seriously? I don't think so. I've not been impressed. Wasn't even that impressed before he came on the team, actually. So there's a guy you could probably sell and at least get some money for. All right, keep going. You know we're keeping Mountain Coat. We don't know all their we don't know all their we don't know their contractual situation, but Gallagher, come on, get rid of that dude. What the hell is he even doing on this team? João Felix is just alone.
Yep.
Let Aubameyang go wherever he can. He doesn't want to be there anyhow. I don't really know enough about Zachariah to say whether or not he should stay or go. And I really not enough information on you. So Nate thinks that Enzo is worth keeping. He's leading this team, but this team sucks right now. Nate is my point. And you're going to have to dump some people you can get for money. So maybe he is untouchable for some, but they're going to have to get rid of somebody who they can get some money for because they're going to have to dump a shitload of cash.
Quite frankly, I think that may be one reason why Pulisic might be on a chopping block.
Yes, he could be.
Yeah.
Because they need to clear out some cash because they cannot continue to spend this much.
Derek, there's a number of clubs out there keeping an eye on Pulisic. So,
Well, yeah, of course, monitoring him. But you're not going to get a lot of money for Aubameyang. You're not going to get a lot of money for fucking Gallagher. That's my point. Some of the big boys,
not compared to the money they spent for Gallagher. No,
some of the big boys are going to have to go. The guys with big, huge contracts and potential is not enough.
So Ramiro says, "I would not keep Mount." Now, there's a question. Mount has the privilege of being an English player, of course.
National team player,
and there are a number of clubs that need to make sure that they keep a number of English players on their roster, and he would start for a good number of clubs out there. Do you think that he could be on the chopping block? I mean, I know he's like Chelsea's boy, of course, but
I think he's one of the players you could get some serious dough for.
I mean, they brought him up through the academy, correct? So I mean, it's not like they spent money on him.
Yeah, but you're still going to probably underpay for a guy like Mount. I'm sure they would underpay to get a guy like Mount. Yeah. I'm not talking about Chelsea, the team.
Farrell's got it right there too. Lamp rates him, but will Lamps be here after the end of the season? Is the question.
Right. Oh. We don't know that. So CP is he's on the selling blocks too, because they could probably, they're not going to get the money they spent to get him.
Ziyech is gone.
Yeah, Ziyech is gone. Yep, he'll probably go.
They should have wrote that World Cup result, and then just sold him during the winter.
Yep,
his value was never going to be any higher than what it was this past winter.
And you're still not going to get back what you paid for him either. But this is a matter of cost cutting at a deficit. You are not going to get the money back you paid for these players. Yeah. Period. I am not impressed by Mudryk. I'm just not. But again, people are going to yell and scream, oh, he's another guy who's untouchable because he's got all this potential. Well, I'm sure he does. But at this point,
also dropped 106 mil on him or whatever the fuck it was.
At this point, you're not in Champions League next season, and you are a mid-table team. You got to cut, or else you're going to get in trouble again. And this is the most ridiculous amount of fucking first-team players I've ever seen. Havertz has got to go.
Yeah, I mean, again, there's got to be a number of German teams that are more than happy to bring him back home. And he's not producing enough for Chelsea.
Yep.
For the amount of money that they can get for him. So you might as well offload it.
You can offload a lot of these guys, that's for sure. So it's going to matter about what they decide. Sterling, I mean,
yeah, that's what I was looking for initially.
It's another guy you could probably get some money for. There's somebody.
He's up there in age, though. I mean, that's question mark.
Yeah, some team like Tottenham will pay not enough for him, but they'll pay. They'll take the discount rate for a guy like Sterling. So, yeah, he's going to have to take a pay cut. Sterling. And I guess he can fight it. I mean, I don't know all the contract situations. They might have a real pain in the ass. No, they will have a pain in the ass situation on their hands. They oversigned, overcommitted, overpaid, and now they're going to have to dump some cash out of the daily wages, the weekly wages that they're paying, or they will be back in financial fair play trouble. So there we go.
Yep.
We'll see what happens. It's kind of painful to look at. I mean, it's not my team. I fucking hate Chelsea.
Yeah, I was going to say, Nate's got a number of players here that are on the out.
Yeah. I've seen 6 different lists with all the players on them. There's only a handful that are consistently on there. But everybody's got different ideas right now about who needs to go. But I think
ultimately they got to figure out what the coaching situation is going to be.
Right.
Because, I mean, you can offload players, but then you're going to bring in the coach, and the coach is like, well, I need these players.
Isn't that the craziest thing, though? You bring in Lampard instead of bringing in Nagelsmann, who would at least get 10 games to assess the guys on the team and go, all right, here are the guys. I'm handing you a list. These are the guys you can cut or sell. The rest of these guys I want to keep.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, do you really keep Lampard unless somehow he magically pulls off a Champions League win? Which he's not going to do unless Real Madrid fall on their fucking faces, which is possible, I suppose. But
let's say he doesn't get the Champions League win. Let's just say at least in the Premier League, he manages to get, what is there, 10 games left?
So he wins 7 out of 10.
Let's say he wins
something
7
like
out of 10. He gets up there, not quite to even Europe at that point, but he's still up there. But I mean, it's an upward tick.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that they're like, well, let's continue riding this wave?
Well, if you win 7 out of 10, I suppose there is a chance if Man U falls apart, and so does Tottenham, you could crawl into the top 4.
No.
7 wins in a row?
7 wins, that's 21. I mean, we said it was 14. That would take a monumental collapse.
It would.
It's possible, I guess.
Because we've seen Man U play like shit in this league this
possible.
season. We've seen them get better, but it is possible. We just watched a pretty lukewarm Man United team more recently. So
Jeff's got your back on this one.
Just so I don't have to watch Chelsea anymore. Yay, me too. I'm so sick of watching Chelsea. I'm not a fan. I always despised Chelsea before Pulisic got there. I hated watching them because all I thought they're just one of those teams that just goes out and buys everybody else's best players.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like that. I mean, Mason Mount is like, he's one example of they're using youth players, but it's just not, it's abnormal for them to do that.
Well, and it's one of the endearing aspects behind Dortmund, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Because they actually do the research. They find the young players, they give them the chance, and they succeed, generally speaking.
Yep.
But I mean,
right.
they don't have the longevity that somebody like a Bayern has with their roster. Quite frankly.
And they mix it up too, Dortmund. You know, they bring up the youth players and the young players, but they'll stick with some of the old guys as the backbone of the team. And this year, of course, they brought in the old dude who plays center forward. So, they always have some reliable older players on their team, but yeah, they know how to fucking scout, and they find some amazing players that nobody thought they thought they were good, but Dortmund recognizes that they're not just good or great. They're going to be amazing. And they get them, they bring them on. Bellingham. I mean, how did Bellingham find his way to Dortmund? I mean, is everyone in England stupid or blind? I don't understand it.
They're not so blind now.
No, not now they're not. But a guy like Jude Bellingham to find his way to Dortmund. And he's not the first English dude to do it either.
You got to wonder. I mean, Bellingham's going for like 100 plus mil at this point. For any club that's going to be transferring out,
it's going to be.
You got to start thinking if you're a talented young player, you're like, maybe I should really focus on this whole Dortmund thing and then come back through, because he's going to be making 10% of that 100 mil. I mean,
yeah,
that's pretty fancy right there.
Nagelsmann in Chelsea next season. Well, here's the weird thing: shouldn't he be there right now?
Yeah,
I mean, I don't get it. If he's not there right now, will Nagelsmann really be that excited to go coach a team who finished mid-table and is not in the Champions League?
It's a challenge, Derek.
I guess it's a challenge. You are coaching one of the bigger names in the world, right? One of the bigger named clubs in the world. But once upon a time in Germany, Werder Bremen was a big name. Schalke was a big name club, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not anymore. Is it possible Chelsea's going to struggle like this next season? You would think not, but I mean, unless you're Nagelsmann, you're just like, I'm the best and I got a lot of confidence in myself, but he's got to be looking at this and going, well, why wasn't I hired now? Why are we waiting?
Yeah.
What are they waiting for? Why aren't we in negotiations this minute? So I can see what I've got, hand them a list of the players I want to keep, and we can move on into next season running with a head start. I don't know. That makes no fucking sense to me. But whatever Todd Bowley's done since he's gotten there hasn't made any sense to me at all. And here I was thinking, Todd would go in there and be sensible. And no, he's been the opposite. He's just thrown his money all over the fucking place. So, Man U channels are garbage. I don't watch any of them, so I don't know. I'll take your word for it. But here I am watching this show.
What? It's kind of like a backhanded slap there a little bit. Whatever.
Man U shows are garbage. But here I am watching this show. We're not a Man U show.
No.
Come on, Jeff. You know that.
I think you say. I might be reading too much in this. He's saying the Man U channels are garbage, but hey, he's watching us, which we're like garbage, but we're U.S. men's national team. So
oh man, that's
I think he was
worse.
I think it was backhanded slap saying that we're garbage too, but he watches us. So not everybody's perfect, you know.
Wow, Jeff, what a low blow from a regular too. That hurts even more. All right, being Ace's dad. Well, we haven't seen you around for a while, have we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for coming back. Thanks for the $2. Hopefully Lampard benches Mudryk because he's mid. Well, here's the thing.
We played his last video clip of him taking that shot. Remember that one? The one chick said like, "Hey, if this was Pulisic, you guys have every excuse behind in the book."
Yeah.
But I'm like, man, if that was Pulisic, we'd be ripping him a new one.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like whenever there's this like, oh, this player, he's the next amazing thing. The one team that goes out and spends more than everybody else and ends up spending too much money is fucking Chelsea. And we don't know how good Mudryk is going to be. Maybe they hold on to him because, like Enzo, they believe there was some potential for him to be an amazing player, which I don't believe either of them are yet. So I guess you have to believe in their potential, right? I don't like that. If I'm Todd Bowley, I don't know how much I really want to just stick with potential at this point. I've seen a lot of things that were so potentially supposed to be great not work. What I want is just shit. I know it's gonna work at this point, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully, all right. So
thanks for that too, being aces. Appreciate it.
Who was misquoted?
Jeff was taken out of context.
Oh,
he's a dude being sarcastic. Yeah, we know. Jeff, wait, no, come on.
We had a good time with it, even if he wasn't. All right,
we're like to make fun of ourselves more than anything.
Yeah, we're fine with it. Hey, kicked in the balls on occasion. It's all fun and giggles. All right,
Derek, have you seen the new jerseys? U.S. jerseys.
Oh, am I supposed to bring about this too?
Well, I mean, I'm asking. Have you seen them?
Yeah, it's the splatter shirts.
Yeah, we got the splatter shirt.
Yeah, we talked about that before. It looks like
this guy.
It looks like Shrek, like jettisoned a load on the shirt.
It was a Smurf. It was a Smurf. Yeah.
Well, I guess
a nut all over the place.
Well, how do you know that his sperm isn't blue?
He's green. Why would his sperm be blue?
Well, just because we're pink doesn't mean that our sperm's pink. Do black dudes have black sperm? No, that's not how that works.
I have no idea. I mean, I do, but I don't.
So, I mean, his innards might be a whole different color. Correct. So this is how
I wouldn't. Looking at a blue splatter like that, I would never have guessed Shrek as the option.
Listen,
I would have assumed that it's not the curtains don't match the drapes in this front, but.
Well, no, okay. So if you're going with Smurfs, then my guess is it's a lot of Smurfs because that's a lot of Smurf goo. And
like
so
each one of those drops, it's gotta be one, right?
So somebody for the test item, my guess is they had somebody hot dress up in the uniform and then had the Smurfs do a little Smurf gangbang. A little Smurf, what are we calling that? What's that? What's the thing where they all jerk off? Nope. Bukkake.
Oh, Bukkake.
There's a little Smurf Bukkake on whoever the player is. We're not going to mention his or her name. And then they looked at the shirt and said, "That's what we were going for. That's what we're going for. Go to print with this." And then the guys were like, "How do we go?" He's like, "Hey, man, you got computers, digitally redo what you see here. A bunch of Smurf goo all over this shirt."
You know, Derek, when you eat some like vanilla ice cream, if it doesn't say like actual vanilla bean in one of the ingredients and it says artificial vanilla, what you're eating is an anal lactate from the beaver family. That's
Seriously?
where they get that. That's where they get that artificial vanilla flavor from.
From a beaver's anus.
Pretty much. Yeah, that family, that whole genealogy there.
How would they find that out? Somebody had to eat a beaver's anus at some points to figure that out.
But yeah, so
that's gross.
Oh, it's absolutely disgusting. I mean, well, there's a bunch of stuff in history like, well, who the fuck would have eaten that?
Yeah,
to know that you can eat
the first
that.
time. Yeah, exactly.
I'm starving to death. There's a liquid coming out of this beaver's ass. I must eat it. You know that. So, But my guess is there's an entire like milking station, an anal gland milking station for this artificial flavor.
Yeah,
and
that's
I feel
gross.
like this must have been the exact same thing for this this jersey. There must be a Smurf milking station somewhere.
That's really gross. What do you got to do like this little whip, 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 to get it up? A tiny pump. Yeah. Oh, horrible, horrible. But that's what it looks like. Unfortunately,
They got the like the milk from the milking station from the cows and stuff like that. But they got them for the Smurfs. Yeah.
Well, that you were talking about foods that people eat, and you're like, who the fuck ate that the first time? Like, how did we finally all figure out, like humans in general now, we've all distinguished what mushrooms kill you? Because some dumb motherfuckers were like, oh, this mushroom's good, and he ate it, and he's like, this one's good. And then some other guys like, oh, mushrooms are good to eat. And they just ran out there and started eating a bunch of fucking mushrooms, and they started dying. Then they're like, mushrooms
don't eat the
bad.
ones with the fucking lightning on them, and those are bad. And with the gills facing this direction, those are bad.
At first, it was really confusing because some guys would come back sick and go, oh, no, I ate what you say. Mushrooms good? No, mushrooms bad. He's like, no, dumb motherfucker. These mushrooms are good. Those mushrooms are bad. And they started distinguishing which mushrooms were good and bad. But somebody had to get sick and die before we figured that out. That's
the lowest man on the totem pole. They're like, here, eat this. If you survive, you'll move up on the realm. You'll be the next level, and somebody else is going to be the bottom of the totem pole. Has to eat that over there.
Well, what they probably did was go to the biggest Neanderthal in the cave and say, the one that's fucking all their chicks.
Yeah.
Because he can beat everybody up.
Hey, we've got this food for you, and if he dies, hey.
Yes, exactly. That's how they killed off the biggest bastard in the cave. All right, what else we got here?
Well, what do you? First off, let's talk about Smurf Jizz one. Let's talk about the blue one here. What do you think of this one?
I think it looks like the Netherlands.
Yes, 100%. Thank you. I was going to bring this up. Yeah.
It looks lame. It's horrible, and I can't believe that's what. And I'm sick of the stupid little collar thingies coming out. What is that? Collar Satan. That's what it is. Collar Satan.
It's like they took the last cycle, like the World Cup cycle of jerseys, and they changed it up slightly. Like, oh well, here we go. We're gonna do the blue tie dye type thing, but we're gonna add this to it. And we're gonna make it kind of this odd reddish orange color that you only see on the Dutch jerseys.
And that badge is atrocious. At least keep our real badge on that. And then it might it would change a little. Yeah. Are based on the blue ones are based on Mystique from X-Men. Oh yeah, okay. I do remember who that is. Yeah.
They literally just took this. They dulled down the tie-dye aspect of it, and they threw the white jersey, this thing right here, on top of it.
Yeah.
And gave it kind of a textured look to it, I guess.
I'd like to see this one, the blue one, with the actual real badge on it instead. Because I think that adds insult to injury. Like it's already not
give it the blue outline with the blue wording and everything. Sure,
that would almost partially save it. This
almost screams like a practice jersey.
It almost screams like
straight color,
Yeah, it screams like, what fucking country are you from? I don't know, because I can't tell by looking at your blob on your left tit, because it doesn't make any sense to me. Or breast, if you're talking about men's. Well, actually, it's just breasts work for men and women, right? We all have breasts.
Yeah. True enough.
Yes.
Biology, can't lie. Can't argue with it.
Can't argue with biology. Oh, I don't know, Brett. All right, but we won't go there.
Is it the first 10 minutes all over again? What are we talking about here?
Budweiser. All right, where are we moving to?
Well, let's move to the actual topic at hand.
Okay, the actual topic at hand is whether or not anybody thinks it's a great idea if Rodgers, not Aaron Rodgers, but Brenden Rodgers. This is not Ted Lasso here, all right, going over to England or coaching the American U.S. men's national team. Is it an idea that anybody would be interested in to bring him in as a possible prospect for the U.S. men's national team? Well, first of all, we know the answer is no, because we don't have a sporting director, and we've already been told unless there's a sporting director, we're about as potent as a 96-year-old man and a whorehouse.
Do you think Sportsology is out there saying, hey, hey, once we hire this guy, we'll totally reach out to you, man. So don't take another job.
Right. And
Come
I'm
on now.
pretty sure Brenden Rodgers will get a job here fairly soon. But I
It's
mean,
not Chelsea, at least we know that much.
there are positives. I know there are criticisms of his playing style, but listen, he took a Leicester team in the first 4 or whatever years he was there, and they were like fighting for a Champions League spot almost every season until this one. And that's after you lose Harry Maguire in 2019, you lose Chilwell in 2020, you lose Schmeichel, who I think was one of the heart and soul characters on that team. Wes Morgan is God knows where anymore. Maybe he was on his way of phasing out. Mahrez, you'd already lost prior to getting there, right? Fuchs is gone, and Iosi Perez never turned out to be what he was supposed to be. So here you are, and you're told during the summer you're not allowed to buy a single player. And there were only 2 teams in the summer transfer window who didn't buy a single player, and that was Leicester and somebody else in France.
Norwich.
No, it was Norwich.
I don't think they bought anybody, did they?
Yeah, they did. They did.
Really? Who'd they buy?
Yep, they did. I don't know who they bought, but they did, because I've looked at the records. There's only 2 teams that didn't. And one of them was, I believe, for the French team, and the other one was Leicester. It's unprecedented.
Fair enough.
And besides, Norwich were busy clearing shit out. Like, they get rid of that dickhead we don't like on the team.
What was his name? I'm spacing it already. I haven't heard it so long.
No, he's gone. He's on loan somewhere.
Start with an R?
In Italy.
No, Turkey. He went to
somewhere. Turkey.
He went to Turkey,
you're right. He did go to Turkey.
What the fuck's his name?
I don't remember, but he is a Turkey, so it makes sense.
Who's the guy that went with Sargent from Bremen to Norwich, and now he's playing in Turkey? Rashika.
And we told you from day one, at least I did, I believe, this was a horrible move for Sargent to go along with Rashika to anywhere.
No, yeah.
We're like, Rashika is garbage. He doesn't pass to anybody. He's the most selfish.
Most of all, he doesn't pass to Sargent. Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he's selfish as fuck.
Absolute shit.
Yep, and total garbage at Norwich, just like we said he was going to be. Anyhow, so here we go, and we look at what Rodgers did. Yes, was he not great at Liverpool? He wasn't given a lot of time at Liverpool. I guess he was. Some people would say he did. Yeah, 3 years, quite a bit.
Solid enough for a manager, yeah.
But he did well at Leicester with what you would consider to be a mid-table team, and getting him into the top of the table and fighting consistently at the top of the table with a team that's good. It has some good players. Jamie Vardy's aging, of course. But here they are at the bottom of the table. I guess in some ways you could say partially this is some of his fault, because they still got Vardy and Tielemans, and there's some good players on that team.
So I guess the problem there is if your owner is not willing to spend the money or can't spend the money, then the issue is that you're going to become predictable, because the rest of the clubs are going to see. Well, we know exactly what these players do.
We're going to know how they're going to line up.
This is how they're going to move around the field. This is who they're going to pass to. They're going to do this. Predictable to read. This is my argument for the one cycle coach for the national team, is that after that first cycle, the second cycle becomes stale. For most
you have your favorites. Everybody knows who they are.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I think that's very true in this case. I think that, and you look back in the summer transfer window and you look at Rodgers in the media saying, I wanted to get like 6 players. They're telling me I cannot get any players. They're saying 0. And he said, that's unfortunate. But he did down talk his current roster at the time, saying it's not good enough. They're not good enough. We need new faces. We need fresh. We need a fresh start.
If you're constantly losing your best players and you don't get new players, of course you're not going to be good enough to say compete.
Right. And
it's not like he was downplaying it. He was flat out telling the truth.
I'm not sure I like the way he put it, though.
Fair enough. You definitely don't want to lose the locker room that way either. Yeah.
And I feel like he did in some ways. I thought he really put down the players on this team in the media, instead of saying, listen, it's not so much I don't have good players, it's that we need to build depth.
We can't improve.
We need to build a dynamic team where we're less predictable, as you said. And we have different options to go to every game to make us harder to beat. That's how he could have put it, man. You should have been there to help him out say that, but unfortunately you weren't. You should have been.
Well, here we are sitting on our side of the pond, and we never get called up. Hey, can you help us out? Yeah, no problem, bro.
Blackballed. So
our side of the pond doesn't call us up.
No. FA Cup, he did win that, so there's that for Brenden Rodgers, and he also won the Community Shield in 2021. I don't know. He seems like a pretty darn, competent manager. Steven Gerrard thinks he's one of the best managers he's ever played for and or been around. And, well, that's not something I'd take with any weight because Steven Gerrard management career outside of Scotland's been pretty piss poor.
Not a great one.
Yeah. So I don't know what to say that. Are there other options? Well, it ain't going to be Graham Potter. We know that. And there are people with
after his treatment of Pulisic, I don't know if I would want that anyways.
I don't know. I think
not that he had much of an option, quite frankly. If he came here,
Pulisic was hurt.
Pretty much guaranteed.
When Pulisic was healthy, he got to play. With that thick-ass roster, he still got to play. That's pretty crazy because he could have just sat his ass like he sat Mount here at the end. Like Mount is like I said, he's celebrating Frank coming back. Big fat Frank.
I mean, quite frankly, Mount was just not producing. Of course, you're gonna get sat down.
Yeah, you have to wonder though why he wasn't producing. One of the reasons you're not producing.
Sure, that's a great question. Yeah,
in that situation,
I think that's a big question.
It is. One of those reasons is. Listen, you're starting a new fucking goddamn starting 11 every fucking game. And you keep changing the goddamn formation every other game. How are we ever going to know where each of us are going to be? How are we ever going to form any sort of chemistry whatsoever if it's all this flip-flopping around constantly? Yeah, it's hard to fucking play with a team where you don't know any of your goddamn, half the players on the team don't know who they are, who the other guy next to them is. And that's where they got.
Because this might actually be up for debate here because obviously USSF has come out and said that Greg is still in contention. Jeff says, please no Marsch. I'd rather rehire Greg with the hope that he gets fired in 12 months.
I don't think the problem with that, Jeff, is he's not going to get fired if he gets rehired because there's really nothing competitively.
Copa, I guess, but
like he could have
Gold Cup will be done.
You have a really bad Gold Cup, I guess.
No, Gold Cup will be done.
Well, that's true.
It's this summer. Yeah, it's done. He's got Copa. That's the only thing moving forward into the World Cup. At the point.
Loses to Argentina in the quarters. That's not going to get rid of him for that. And by the way, you should know, Jeff, by now that USSF loves some Greg Berhalter. So, I mean, if they rehire him, he's staying for the next World Cup. There is no firing him. He would have to, catch the worst case of herpes and be sick and almost dying and in bed or whatever. And that's the only reason he would lose his job. He would have to be physically unable to perform it. But Marsch, I don't really prefer either of them. And I used to be a pro Marsch guy at one point, but then I watched what he did with Leeds this season. And I said, I don't want any of that either for the U.S. men's national
team. And you might fall back into a pro Marsch guy if, say, the next club that he plays for, he actually manages different than his standard high press ball.
Well, the whole problem
is if he comes out and is a little more flexible at that point, you might most people at that point would then flip the switch.
It's not so much that it's just the high press ball. It's how thin of the field he uses. So, and when I say that, he jams everybody on the field.
Nobody can see that, Derek.
Within, he cuts off a whole portion of the field, the wings. The only
Derek,
part
you do two straight lines there, man.
Here, let me draw a goal. All right, here are the corners. Here's the problem with Jesse Ball. Jesse Ball, here's the goal.
Yeah, let's make you a little bit bigger, Derek.
Okay. That's what
Hold on,
said.
I gotcha.
So I didn't draw a penis or anything. But Jesse Ball basically lives within the center of the field. Nobody takes advantage of the wings. And that's the real problem. If you go watch his games, and Jesse said it himself, why do we go straight down the field? Why do we go straight at the goal? Because that's where the goal is, right? You can bring yourself back, right? That's why
Derek didn't like being the only face up there.
when I heard Jesse say things like that in the interviews, in the media interviews, I'm like, okay, this guy is really stuck in a rut because you're playing on 2/3 of the field, my friend. You're wasting 1/3 of the wings out there. Like there's space out there. And by the way, if you have a good system for switching fields, when you play the ball wide out left, for instance, you can get it back to a midfielder as the defense shifts over to that side to defend that wide player, and you can switch fields, something you never, ever really saw under Jesse Marsch ball. And that's something that, unfortunately, he would have to fix. He would have to raise his hand to me and say, I, Jesse Marsch, promise to not play Jesse Marsch fucking dogma ball as the United States manager going forward. I will do what's best for the team. I will play the best formation based on the players I have. It will not be about my system. It will be about the players that I have and how they best work together. And I will do that. And I swear on the book of soccer, the soccer Bible, that's what I'll do. That's the only way I consider Marsch at this point.
You're saying your little description of Jesse ball is
the
exact opposite of 3G ball.
It is.
Yep. And S27 says Jesse ball is greater than Berhalter ball.
Well, I mean, if you like going straight down the fucking gut, I guess so. But it didn't work for Leeds very well. So everybody went straight at the goal. At the goal, constantly. Even the right back and the left back, whenever they came up, which was not enough.
One could say that Berhalter ball never went for the goal.
No. It was just playing it out wide and cross it. Yeah. So, yeah, it was totally the opposite. There is a happy medium there somewhere. And the real happy medium is what I hope we see from the current temporary manager of the United States men's national team. Give me Pirlo. I mean, listen, you like his hair. A lot of people think he's a very handsome man, John. So I understand why you're
slightly older mixed disc Rude.
I understand your attraction to him physically. However, at this point, I don't know if he's ever going to manage again. It doesn't seem like it. Or is he somewhere?
US can give him the chance. He is somewhere. He's playing.
He's playing. Holy shit!
This whole coaching thing's not working for me. Someone's playing soccer.
He's playing for some 4th division team in Italy or somewhere. Is that what you're saying?
Let's see here. He is. Who the fuck is that?
I don't know what you're looking at.
He's in Turkey. I'm sorry. I was looking here.
Oh, oh my God, he's in Karamaguruk.
Yes, that's exactly what I just said, Derek.
I'm sure you did. Sorry, hold on. What did you call it? What did you call it?
No, I didn't say anything. I said, who the fuck is this? That's what I said.
Fair enough.
Do we have a Yank playing for Karamaguru?
We did at one point, I believe. Wasn't it the other guy we can barely ever pronounce his name back in the days, but we figured out how to pronounce it. Left back.
Abagurucci or whatever that guy's name is?
No. The left back played for us. Let's see. Left back, he played for, at one point, he played for Leeds. He played for Nottingham Forest. God damn it.
Lewis.
Somebody, huh?
Said Lewis.
No, he played one season with them, half a season. Eric Lehigh. That's who it is.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Fair enough.
Eric Lehigh played there briefly and just quit halfway through the season. Said, you know what? I can't stand living in Turkey. I can only eat so many gyros and something like that. From what I heard behind the scenes, he just couldn't culturally figure out a way to fit in Turkey. Pirlo might be able to help with set pieces. That's for fucking sure.
Maybe we can get him in just to coach Pulisic because Pulisic is hell-bent on taking all of our set plays.
Yeah.
Him and Zendejas.
But look, I got to tell you, coaching in Turkey at this team is certainly a far drop from coaching at Juventus. This is a long way down.
Yeah, don't
the ladder.
Say, Derek.
It's a long way down the ladder. So,
I mean, that just means he's primed for something new, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's give him a chance.
All right. Who else do you guys want? Let us know in the comments. And then we'll end this fucking show. Let's take a few names that you would like to see.
While we're waiting for them to come up with names, let's take Chris Gary's comment here.
All right. I take Rodgers in heartbeat. He's done a lot with not so great squads, kind of like what we said. I highly doubt he even consider us, but we can dream, right? Berhalter would always say the same shit in pressers like system. I hated when he said that. Hated when he said verticality and balance.
Yeah, we didn't beat that bush. We didn't beat that horse until it died.
Bush. You beating bushes?
Who isn't?
All right.
Come on.
But Rodgers has some great ones. I've not really listened to him extensively in press conferences, so I'll have to catch on to that, Chris. Thanks for giving me the heads up on that.
Oh, no. Here we go.
All right.
Here we go.
Yeah, Booger Eater, I don't think is going to fit in real well.
Crotch sniffer.
Yeah, armpit sniffer. Listen,
He knows the game.
He kind of lost the game with Germany near the end. Jurgen Löw was a great manager, but the game sort of passed him by a bit near the end of his stint with Germany. And that could be that people were just sick of looking at him and listening to him and watching him pick his ass crack. I don't know. He was there a long time in Germany.
Like 3 or 4 cycles, man.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm not opposed to at least considering it, but he'd have to clean up his image a bit. The press we'd be having a laugh.
Yeah,
at
I'm
his
just saying.
expense.
No,
Yeah.
our press would not have a
Oh,
laugh.
that's true. You're right.
He
Our
could be
press
fingering, he could be fingering his asshole on the sideline. Our press wouldn't say shit.
no, they burned the footage. They burned.
Never
the footage.
happened, guys. Never happened.
No, he's not a booger
No.
eater at all. He hates boogers. All right, Adrian Heath. Why? Come on. I love little old Adrian Heath, but yeah, I don't think so. Hope Soloy. Hope Solo. Well, again, we got more bunghole picking issues there, and I don't think we need to get in that. Michael Carrick. Where's Michael Carrick these days? Anybody know? Where is he?
I don't know.
I mean, I liked him. He's a good player, really good player. Is he outstanding coach? I don't know. Haven't heard much about Michael Carrick. Is he somewhere in the championship managing League One?
He is currently at Middlesbrough. Hey,
Okay, championship. Boom! All right.
Fully aware of our players, though.
Yeah, I didn't know he was there. Frankly, Graham Potter.
right,
I don't
yeah.
think so. Yeah, I don't think so. Keyshawn, sound like you're laughing about it. So no, Luis Enrique would be nice, but I just don't see that. Just don't. Frank Lampard.
Like some Pulisic.
I don't know. I don't know. But you know, if you told me Frank Lampard, Greg Berhalter, I'll take it. Marazzo. Well, that's an interesting sort of Japanese approach to his name. He's like a Japanese car all of a sudden.
Mazuratsu.
You know what?
I think that's the appropriate phonetic, spelling of it or pronunciation of it. There we go.
Yeah, no, I like that he gave it a go. But let's see him pull Hoffenheim out of the
I like how
dump.
you pulled. Well, he's on the verge of that, dude. He's doing
Yes, he
pretty
is.
damn good.
Yeah.
He's doing pretty damn good at that.
Yep, and Brooks, by the way, is
shtick.
playing pretty well all of a sudden. Cherundolo is a real believable. That's somebody U.S. Soccer I could see going for. The only problem with Cherundolo is, keep this in mind, and this goes for Landon Donovan too. Both of those guys are not in the cool people clique. Okay, So Cherundolo spent almost his whole career in Germany, and after he was done playing, he stayed there and was an assistant coach on many teams. He's just got over here, right? 3 years ago. He's not a part of the cool crowd at U.S. Soccer.
Doesn't
It never
matter,
has
Jack.
been.
It's time to drain the swamp. Come on,
Landon
Drain the swamp
Donovan.
of USSF. Come on.
Landon Donovan is
Huge.
definitely not in the cool group in
Huge.
U.S. Soccer. He is. A lot of people don't like him. They'll put up with him, but they don't like him. So I'm just telling you who the cool people are as far as U.S. Soccer is considered. And both of those guys are not considered part of the cool guy group. Jason Christ was considered part of the cool guy group for sure, but
He's
now
fucked
he's
up every level he's been in since
so
since
bad.
Salt Lake, man.
He's so bad they had to wave him away, even though they were in love with him.
So did he have somebody at Real Salt Lake that did all the work for him? Because I feel like everywhere else he's gone since then has sucked donkey dick.
I just think for the way he likes to play and the setup he likes to play, the one thing that he had at Real Salt Lake outside of a really good setup is he had Beckerman. And Beckerman fit his system perfectly.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And I think once you lose a guy there aren't a whole lot of Beckermans floating around, by the way, right now. But let's say Beckerman retires and Jermaine Jones is still healthy and can play.
Insanely slow people who can pass the ball.
Yeah, I guess. But he did have great spatial awareness, Beckerman. You have to give him that. Is Van Gaal an option? I'd like to think he was, but I seriously doubt that Van Gaal would come here and coach. I just don't see it. I mean, anything's possible, I suppose. I say that, and I'm like, no, there's some things that are definitely not possible. So, but I wouldn't put him in that's definitely not possible category. I doubt that we'd even want a guy like that. He's really kind of got an edge. Yeah, I don't see it. Phil Mark Hunt. Phil Mark Hunt. I think he's almost there. He's trying.
Trying to do the Phil
Marquant.
Phil Marquant. Yeah. You have to go with the southern accent, don't you?
Phil Marquant. Yeah, you do. You're right. Potch probably be England manager after Southgate goes next summer. I would not even. Phil, I hate to say this, but the English, they have just as big a problem at their federation that we do. There is an insiders club, and trust me, Pochettino is not part of that club. And listen, he's gotten zero chance of being an English manager even after Southgate leaves. So, but Poch could be the new Chelsea manager next season. That's maybe a maybe. Marcelo Gallardo. I mean, I don't know. Nick Saban. All right, now we're just getting at it. It's getting wacky. Vincent Company, I really do like.
I haven't seen a single Henry in here.
Yeah, that's true. I do like Vincent Company. I think he's going to be a really good manager. He already is. He's proving it. So, but is he ready to flip-flop over here? I seriously doubt that.
And I'm surprised it took so long. Here we go. Let's get some Ted Lasso in the house.
Ted Lasso. By the way, I started season 2. I know I'm way behind, but I only have seen season 1 so far.
Evie and I we went back and watched seasons 1 and 2. We have like one more episode of season 2 before we start season 3, because we wanted to kind of give it a buffer where we can watch a couple episodes at a time.
Well, I'm way behind, so I got plenty to go. But I didn't want to rewatch season 1 because I already knew what happened, and I knew it was. It's like when you know something emotional is going to happen in it, and you're like, I don't want to deal with that emotion again.
Fair enough.
I just want to skip over to 2 and start some new emotions.
I can't tell you how many people who watch that and they go, I thought this was supposed to be a comedy. Like, it's a dramedy. Come on.
It is. It's a dramedy. Yeah.
But no, if you go back and rewatch 1, you do see certain things, like little tidbits that you missed the first watching. And that's like that with any show, really.
I find the one character be a little unbelievable in season 2, and that's Kent.
Roy Kent, yeah.
Which is a play on Roy Keane. We all know that, right? So Roy Kent's
which part is unbelievable?
Well, he goes on. No, that he goes on live television and he says fuck and shit and shit and shit and shit. He'd be off. One show, he'd be done. He'd never come back again because they don't put up with it.
You got some solid ratings. I thought they did. I thought they did put up with the cursing.
Not in real life, they wouldn't. That's what my point is.
I thought they did those in real life, but I guess not.
Not that much. That was excessive. And I like the way he talks to little girls in his little girls team. He's like cussing them out and shit.
Let's burn this into your mind.
Yes. I don't know. Great show. Enjoying it. Taking it
I have
lightly.
not seen For All Mankind yet. No, I've seen the only thing of Apple I've seen so far has been C and Ted Lasso.
I like where he starts. Brett with Apple. Go back with that. Let me. Brett with Apple. Have you watched For All Mankind? You know, it's like Derek with not Apple. No, Derek has Apple too.
Just recently, though.
I got it.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah. Anyhow. All right. I think we're done here.
Hold
Do
on.
we got some more.
Looks like Berlin wants to bring up the center forward conversation you and him have had over the past week.
Oh, so he wants to bring this up. All right, we'll do it. U.S. men's national team coaches media, 99% of the fans have lost the plot when it comes to center forwards. They can't identify talent, can't identify how goals are scored by center forwards. Sounds harsh, but the past decade, to me at least, is proof the U.S. men's national team general incompetence. It's not a world problem. It's a U.S. problem. Listen, man. Yes, we have a problem. I was just pointing out that we're not the only ones to have a problem. And if you want to focus just on our particular problem, it is a little bit different than others. I'll agree with you on that. Well, like, it's not like that France doesn't have a center forward. Well, they've had one. He's just kind of aging out at this point.
Well, let's look. He listed the top three scorers of three leagues. Looks like he says in the top five, but what do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different nations, leading goal scorers.
Okay, but hold on.
It sounds like there's a lot of other countries that aren't necessarily figuring that out.
Exactly, they aren't figuring it out. I am more focused on the U.S., so I only care about our problem. I don't really care about Germany's problem, even though they have Füllkrug, and they seem to have fixed that problem. But even if you look at Füllkrug, he's nice, but he ain't. He's not like magnificent. He's not going to blow your balls off or anything. He's just a really solid center forward. David, fine. Mbappe's not a center forward. Balogun just got there, so he's got some work to do. I mean, really, are we talking about Grifo and Muami in the same way we're talking about, let's say, give me who's the guy, Holland or Barcelona guy? Forgot his name. God damn it. Barcelona center forward, used to play it. Fucking Bayern. Just got there.
Lewandowski.
Thank you. God damn it. I can't remember anything.
So they're going like, I don't watch Bayern or Barcelona for shit, so I don't know who's there right now.
Holland, yeah. Holland, Kane, good players. Very good players. Awesome players. Mm-hmm. Holland's best player, center forward in the world right now, in my opinion. Kane's just
a freak of nature is what he is.
He is a freak of nature.
Oh, Lord.
Kane's really great. Tony, I mean, listen. All right, I'll give you Tony, but he's not blowing my dick off or anything. I'm just saying. So I think a lot of people have this problem, unless you are Canada or you are Germany or you are England or you're Norway. I don't see a whole lot of fucking elite center forwards out there. I'm sorry, I don't. So I do think it's a world problem. I think that position has played itself out because of the way teams set up now. Like, nobody plays two center forwards together and two strikers together. They're on an island all by themselves. That's why France has a really good quality center forward on the national team who never scores. It's
funny because he brings up this specific goal with Pepe.
Mm-hmm.
And he's always like, "Why does he go near post?" And he gives a whole reason why you never go near post. When you're shooting, you go far post, etc., etc.
Yep.
And he goes, I don't believe that he even knew where the goalkeeper was. And I go, I took a still, and I actually managed to find relatively close to where I took the still from. But I think at this point, he knew where the goalkeeper was.
Oh, yeah.
But then he put his head down and took the shot.
Yeah.
But the goalkeeper naturally would strafe a couple steps closer to near post.
Typically.
But still got beat.
Yeah.
But I think he still looked. He looked down at the ball, took his shot.
The goalkeeper's is his horrible positioning. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. And you can make your argument like, oh, you would never go near post in this front. I mean, because the goalkeeper does strafe a little bit about right here.
I think the goalkeeper did lose his spatial awareness at some point.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it was bad goalkeeping. I'll agree with you 100% on this.
Yeah. but still, I'll take it if I'm,
as I say, a goal is a goal is a goal.
Well, you're a center forward, so
Yeah.
of course you'd say that.
I'll take anything. An errant cross that happens to go in the back of the net, that was on purpose, guys.
Yeah. Now, do we have a uniquely American problem at center forward? We are. If you're going to play Ferreira there, yes, we're going to continue.
Or you play Berhalter who does not incorporate the 9.
It doesn't know how to incorporate a 9. And I know, Taylor, you've been saying Sargent's not a fucking center forward for a long time, but I just still disagree with you, and I'm being stubborn, and I get it. But I'm not the only one being stubborn about that. And I do believe that when Sargent gets to play more center forward soon, when
on top
gone,
of that, let's look at what Hudson's done. Hudson's Pepe's come out and said, "Hey, Hudson's allowed us to have a little more freedom of play. We trust our instincts." And if you look at who's scored under the Hudson era right now, you have Vasquez who scored. He's a center forward. You have Pepe who scored a couple of goals here. 3, I think, in the last window.
I know you're going to say doesn't matter who we played, but we did.
No, I would indicate that, yeah, it makes a difference who we did play. But again, a goal is a goal, and our center forwards are getting chances. That's the key.
Because even Ferreira scored against what's-their-face.
Fair enough. Yeah, he scored 4 against Grenada. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So we might still have that problem.
Sure.
And we aren't really – I mean, listen, what used to happen or what is now happening, it seems to me, is if you're over 6 foot and you're a youth player, they just throw you into center back now. And I think that's happening too much.
Height's always been an issue in that sense, yeah.
And they believe now that, play a false 9 or whatever, play like Pep. Well, not even Pep plays like Pep anymore now that he's got Holland. So if you do develop an awesome center forward or you have one, Pep's like, fuck my old system.
Just lob the ball up to the fucker. He'll score.
Yeah. He's like, fuck my system because I've got a world-class center forward, So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, it is something we got to work on, Taylor. We can all agree on that.
Yeah, we've never been prolific at the striker, and I agree. There's definitely been an issue as far as what you're scouting, what you're looking for. There's been a change in how the strikers perform at the international level. Obviously, that all dictates on how we play as a team. When we had McBride in the realm, our center forwards were more or less cross to. Yeah.
Yep.
And then you had Josie, who was kind of a hodgepodge between, well, am I a target striker? Am I a secondary striker? So I'll say his best role, at least before he went to Aze, was when he had JPA at Red Bulls. He played off of him. JPA played the more target role.
Yeah.
And Josie scored a shit ton of goals for Red Bulls that season because he didn't have that responsibility. Now, of course, he went to England, and they're like, dude, you're a target striker. Act like a target striker, put on 30 pounds of muscle, and then he played that role.
Yeah.
But
didn't work out, did it?
Not really. Not in England, definitely no.
No, that was horrible. Both times. Let's see. Harry Taint.
Appreciate the bingo cards, Harry.
I don't know about listen, Harry Taint. There's supposed to be like a break there somewhere after your balls, like where the hair stops growing, and it's usually at the taint area. That's usually not a hairy area. But then again, if you're like Christian Pulisic, you probably do have 4%.
Maybe if you got like 4% Neanderthal in there somewhere, that might happen.
I'm not getting into this goddamn Neanderthal discussion with you again. All right. But yeah, I mean, if you're Pulisic, you might have a hairy taint. It's possible because he's one hairy motherfucker. I've got a feeling that one day U.S. Soccer will randomly announce that a sporting director was hired and they'll bury it on their website.
I wouldn't be shocked if they already hired one right now. We don't know about it.
I wouldn't be surprised at all. Yeah. I don't think they started the process until after this investigation. They said they started before, but that's a bunch of bullshit. It sure seems like it because here we are in fucking April.
Yeah.
And the World Cup's been over for months now, and we still don't have a fucking sporting director, even though we've had one guy stand up and say, I want to be I'll do the sporting director job. And they're like, nah, your name's Gooch. You're on the board. Fuck off. Or, the sportsology people are like, no, he's too tall. We don't want a guy that tall.
We saw him eye down Borghetti. We don't need that. We don't need that in the sporting director role.
We don't need that intimidation. And we're just not gonna. have a sporting director. I mean, it seems like a really easy position to fill, and it sounds like a position going into a 2026 World Cup that somebody would find desirable because
at home. I mean,
and it pays a good amount of money too.
This is the year that you should have everybody flocking to you. Like, I'll take the role. I'll take the role.
And yet,
but everybody's doing the exact opposite. Like, nah, bro, I'll stay where I'm at right now.
We got the guy at Kansas City. We got 2 other guys who've been offered.
Philly, DC. I mean,
yeah, we've got people who said no to interviews, just flat out no to an interview because they smell the fucking dying, rotting stench of rats that are sportsology. Nobody wants to talk to those rats.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them, frankly, either. I wouldn't want to talk to them either.
No.
All right. I think that's going to do it for tonight, folks.
We got that covered, yeah.
We beat 2 hours. No, we're not going to go 2.
I'm honestly surprised we managed nearly a 2-hour show for you guys. I mean, this is
really
this topic alone, really.
We were squeezing the last drops out of a lemon here tonight because there really isn't much going on. But you can tell that even if there isn't, we're behind the scenes. Brett and I are still talking about Chelsea. We're making jokes and texting each other all day about shit that's going on. And so there are things to talk about, but if you're not interested in Chelsea and if you're not interested in Frank Lampard or whatever, then you probably weren't interested in the show.
I mean, and who knows when the topic might verge into to the anal gland dropping of a beaver.
A beaver. Somebody lick this beaver's ass. We got to find out if there's some good
flavors. Smells like vanilla
stuff
over here. What the hell?
We got to find out if this beaver's ass has some sort of vanilla flavor. Because we don't have
enough.
Find that We're going to lick every animal's asshole in this forest until we find a vanilla flavor to replace the
there must have been like a vanilla bean embargo. They're like,
exactly.
Oh my god, what can we possibly do to make our ice cream? We can't do this right now, or coffee flavor. Like, oh.
Well,
that beaver's ass over there smells pretty nice.
There was like a vanilla plague, right? And all the vanilla plants died. And they just sent out, groups after groups of fucking peasants to lick animal assholes until they found one that tasted like vanilla.
I found one.
This is beaver. This beaver's asshole tastes like vanilla.
Although, I guess making the joke of licking a beaver, I mean, it just sounds...
Yeah,
we're talking about something else.
Now it's got a double meaning.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Yeah. All right. Until the next.
It tastes like fish.
Until the next time on the Straight Red Card. Make sure you like. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share it with your grandma. All those things are good. And next time you're in a forest, do not lick any animal assholes. Could get dangerous. Good night.
She's a trap, she's an unsung novel, turn a lap and get your whole world dazzled on the line, or a phone call with or without wine.
You're gonna do her. Yeah.
Oh no!